Joining into the hobby, the RK61 was my humble third board out of the collection. It's the board that led me to the world of light tactiles with the RK Browns, as well as the world of the 60% layout that till this day remains as one of my favorite ones because of its sheer portability and symmetry. 2 years later, we have the Artifact 60.1 by Deskdaily, a prototype board in Champagne that I was lucky enough to grab for a steal price. You could think of it as a successor to my RK61. We'll be putting MX Browns on this board and calling it a day, right? There's only one problem. I don't know how to solder, and you're coming along the ride with me. As a disclaimer, I bought this kit with my own money, and Deskdaily did not send me this unit for review. However, our friends over at JMK has hooked us up with the tools and parts necessary for the build to succeed, such as this Pine Seal Smart Soldering Iron V2, the Pine Power 65W GAN power brick, a fairly long C2C cable, as well as a small stand for the iron. I also bought an SSO2 desoldering pump should I wish to rebuild. Again, thanks to JMK for providing this and helping me out throughout this process. You know JMK already, but in case you don't, JMK is a local mechanical keyboard store that caters to us enthusiasts who want switches, loops, and tools for our builds. I am a fan of JMK ever since my RK61 video, and the proof is in the video. Check them out with the link in the description. Moving on over to the board itself, as I said, this is a proto unit I got from Deskdaily. The unboxing experience might differ, but what I got is a nice and premium RMI branded bag that houses some pre-Gateron switches, the 50A O-ring that will surround the board, the solder PCB that I already preloaded with stabs, the FR4 plate, and finally the board itself in Champagne along with the daughter board. The Artifact 60.1 is a Winky, Bakaneko-styled gummy O-ring board. This means that the board is a one-piece design incorporating a friction fit for the mounting style. To the front, we see the simple and symmetrical bezels, except for the knob row, which has a cherry lip. On the sides, we see the 7-degree typing angle, as well as the low front height, making the board comparable to Type 1. Along this is the curvish taper to the rear, which leads to the USB Type-C in the middle. Flipping it over, we see the rubber feet, in which one is not aligned, which is fine by me, since this is a proto unit, and retail units have fixes already. Besides that, we see the Rosas engraving in the middle. No weight on this one, unlike the Paraluman, but that's what you get for an upgraded and modified version of the Bakaneko design. This design screams premium to me, and the one-of-one champagne colorway is a nice touch. My only problem with this is finding the right keycaps to match. Let's not wait much further. As I've said in the intro, I don't know how to solder, and with the help of Black Simon and the mech community here in the Philippines, I was able to absorb all of this information and brace my fears and finally solder a board. Beforehand, I tested out the PCB using BIA and all the pins seems to be working fine. I was also impressed that this is already implemented in BIA without the fuss of adding in the JSON file. Moving on over to the build proper, I mounted the MX Butter Browns on the FR4 plate as well as the PCB in preparation for the build. Open up the soldering iron and preheated it to 350C. Grab the lead and off I go. Turns out, soldering a board is fine for the most part. Admittedly, I was shaking a little on the first few solders, but as I finished every row, I kind of got into a rhythm with the board, and in a matter of 15 minutes, I was done with soldering the board up. The only thing left is adding the 50A O-ring and the JC Studio keycaps, and my board is done. Overall, I was impressed with the Artifact 60.1. The gummy O-ring mount might be my favorite mount right after top mount then gasket. It gave out the sound profile of the MX Browns the best, and the slap of the spacebar really sounds nice. And that's even with the PBT set. I love the way it's designed, and the Chang'an layout is a cherry on top. You know, it's funny how after 2 years of juggling back and forth with boards of all shapes and sizes, it's the third board, the RK61, that stuck with me the most. I've said it in Tech Viral's collab that it may be the worst board I have, but I still love it since it opened up the world of modding and YouTube to me. And this artifact is a worthy successor to the legacy, which is the RK61. Once again, thanks to JMK for hooking us up with the tools necessary for the build, and thanks to Deskdaily for accommodating me with this purchase. Let me know what do you think of the artifact. Comment them down below. I'm Johan J. Mimaba, and I'll see you in the next video.